Today we're gonna do another close-up look at some more fish in the pond. I netted these two out from my pond. These are two Isa Showa. They were acquired around March of 2023. So they've been in here for a good summer and a fall growing season. I want to say that when I got them they were between like 7-8 inches at the most, and right now they're a little over 16 inch. Not remarkable growers. On average I think they're growing at a pretty average normal rate. Obviously I would wish that it can grow a little faster, but you can't always predict that when you get the fish. So anyways, let's look at these two fish and kind of keep a little journal on them to see how they'll develop in the coming years. Why don't we just go ahead and take a look at this one first. This one is probably a little bit more catching to the eye simply because the colors are more vibrant. The red is a little bit deeper looking compared to the other one, and the black is much more inky black and already shows signs of like a finished color black, where the black pigments are at the very surface, the top surface of the scale and the skin right there. So it's very dark black. And I was taught that with Showa, what you really want is a balance of three colors. Obviously the traditional Showa is a little bit more Sumi heavy or more black heavy, and that's a more traditional Showa. But the newer style Showa is like the Kindai Showa, where they want a little bit more white and less black color. So I would say this one is kind of between this one and this one. This one is a bit more traditional looking right now, based on what we're seeing. The blacks are coming up in different layers actually. So on the head, the black is more apparent. It's darker, the patches are bigger, but along the body right here, you can see like the black is coming up at a different like rate. So as the skin pigments, I'm guessing, is getting replaced and gets pushed up, all the black will eventually get up, and this fish will be quite heavy in the black pattern all around the head right here, all the way down to the gills and the shoulder right here. This part's gonna be mostly black. Deep patches of black are coming up right here as well, but it also has white underside and the sides on the belly side. The Sumi along the fin, the Motoguru, it is coming up at a slow rate, but it's pretty even on both sides. So, and if you look carefully right here, you can see the black pigment underneath that layer of that epidermal. So the under the layer of the top skin right there, you can see the black coming up. So as it gets older, all that black is gonna push up, and I think it's gonna balance out quite nicely. If you look at this portion right here, the black is hidden underneath the scale, so that's gonna raise up as well. So right now, it's finished growing in the first year. So technically, this fish is a second year, and still got a long way to develop. But a good sign is that you see different gradations of black. So if you see that the black is finished on some parts, and the other ones are like showing gray and lighter shades of black, that means eventually it's gonna show up. So it's really just a matter of time watching this fish grow. But yeah, it's gonna have heavy black banding on this one. This one, like if you were picking out a Showa, you wanna consider picking, you know, ones that have like patches of black, lines that go across, that wraps around the body. The head, try to aim for the one that has like 3 different colors. So on this particular fish, eventually what you're gonna see is that the black is gonna cover portions of the snout and the beyond the nose right here, like where the mouth is. It will start to cover up a little bit more, especially around the mouth. It's a little harder to see now, but eventually it will show up. So you'll have black, red, and white on this fish on the head, which is quite nice. The black wrapping is going to go around the red right here, and that's going to develop. There's patches of white right here. Hopefully that will stay white because you do want to have a balance. But the tip of the tail right there is going to start to darken up because I'm already seeing the black layer underneath, and that is going to show up for sure. So it's going to be quite dark when it gets older. Let's take a look at this other fish. This one, probably if you were picking out a bowl of, well, if you're looking at a bowl of Showa and you saw this fish, it might not be the fish that you would pick depending on how comfortable you are with the development of the fish potentially in the future. Because when I got this fish when I was younger, it was not as apparent as this. It was even harder to pick because it didn't seem quite balanced. But now, let's look at the different. Let's take a look at some of the hints that this fish is going to give us. So, first things first. If I was to just judge the Benny on this one, it's not quite as dark as the other fish, but that could be a number of reasons. For example, sometimes when a fish grows really fast, it stretches out, so the Benny is a little bit lighter because it has to distribute along the scales and the skin. Now you can start to see the sign of this fish. Once again, I was taught that you should always look for a Showa that has 3 colors on the head because it looks nicest. So although right now the red is more dominant on this fish in the area along the head and the shoulder, what you're seeing is like lines of black developing, especially on the left side right here, and the hump on the shoulder is black. So that one will eventually get darker, and I'm already seeing signs that one scale right here is getting to that inky level black. That means for sure this fish, the black is raising up and it's not going to get hidden underneath the scales. Along the area between the nose, the Sumi is developing, and it's going to run from the shoulder all the way down to the front of the mouth on the left side. So when it gets bigger, the head is going to have a nice 3-color area. And then now let's look at the way the black is developing on this fish. It's a lot more interesting. Right now it looks kind of off balance because you got a heavy front end right here, and the left side is more red. On the right side here, you only got 2 patches of red and a little bit stray scale right here that's red. But if you look at the way the black is wrapping around this fish, it's really interesting. So the black is going along here on the head right here, right? And it's going all the way over the shoulder. And right here, before the dorsal fin, it kind of splits and goes down. And it goes along here. It wraps around the red, and it goes all the way down to the side. The tail is also showing like signs of peppers, like meaning black spots coming up. So it's starting to pepper up a little bit, which is kind of cool. So the tail is going to have patches of black. And the black on the tail is wrapping both sides. So here is wrapping on this side, which you can see on the left, and on the right as well. The black on the left side right here is going between the two patches of the red. So potentially this fish will look better than this fish when it's fully mature, because the black, ideally you want the Sumi or the black to go inside the white patches of color, not so much the red, depending on the fish of course. But with the Showa, when the black is contrasting against the white, it looks nicer than contrasting against the red. So right now it doesn't look quite balanced yet, but once the black shows up, this, and you see this right here, see the scales on this one? Yeah, right there. Those scales are like showing up the blacks already. And that's like 90% finished on the darkness of that black. Once it gets all the way to the top, it looks more inky, but it's a really good sign of this fish. So yeah, the black, the way it's gonna wrap around this fish is gonna be very nice. On this side, you're gonna have the red and the white. On the right side, you're gonna have more black. And it's gonna have patches of white, so it's gonna be quite nice and balanced. The fin on this fish, it's got like a stray patch of red right there. But then again, also on this side as well, it's not fully black. I think the standard for this variety is that you want the black to fan out along the fin more so than stray Benny. But once again, sometimes those things can be a little bit minor depending on whether or not you want to have that perfect koi standards for the show. But for pond, I think this fish is going to look quite nice. Right now it's got a nice head, body conformation looks good. This one, it's got a nice conformation too, but the head is not quite as large as this one. Looks a little bit more slimmer, so they're all gonna look a little bit different regardless. So let's just wait and see next year as it grows how they both will develop. Yeah, so the black on this one, it's much more finished compared to this guy. But this one's gonna have some really interesting black patterns and the way it balances it out.